Yeah, the AIPAC money is disgusting. And Debbie takes a boatload of it, if you will. So what I want you guys to all see here is the fact that Debbie puts out this message, a great screen capture. So she says, I'll carry images of sexual violence from 10/7 with me for the rest of my life. Now, is it possible that she has seen images of sexual violence? It's possible. But again, there's a thing called doctored videos. There has been declarations from the United Nations, from, I believe, the London Times, and a lot of other places that have debunked these so-called Hamas rape videos that Debbie is so eagerly claiming is correct. And she'll say, well, they told me it was Hamas, and I believe them. That's going to be her plausible deniability, but we all know that she is a mouthpiece for the Israel lobby. Full stop. And then she says, unfortunately, House GOP voted to defund programs to combat gender-based violence and assist survivors. You see, she can't even give you a coherent message without framing it in the context that there is something to be had by suggesting that, oh, and by the way, let me take a shot at the Republicans in the process, because that's all she does. That's her whole MO. Her whole MO, as I sat in a meeting with her in Hollywood last week, was to basically just point the finger at the Republicans are the cause of all your problems. And I'm going to protect you. The Democrat, I'm going to protect you. That's what she does. Thanks, Dana Bash, who is just as big a Zionist as she is, for covering Sheryl Sandberg, who, for those of you who don't know, Jen personally knows Sheryl Sandberg. And needless to say, Sheryl Sandberg is not supporting Jen for this campaign. Not a surprise. And the Vice President, Kamala Harris, for confronting 10/7 deniers and revisionists. Scroll down, please, Colin. Keep going. Stop. So as you can, no, go up. I wish I could control this. So as you can see, her ratio is staggeringly bad. And most of these tweets are retweets, are quote tweets. The responses are pretty horrific. Now, if you keep going down, keep scrolling, you'll see Z Squirrel, who I don't know, again, is an anonymous person, but brings up some very important information. There is no footage of sexual violence, rape from October 7th, as confirmed by the Israeli regime itself to Haaretz and the UN. You made that up and keep regurgitating it to the mainstream media because you know no one will call you out for your propaganda lies. And then below, as you can see, this is astonishing. The Israeli police, intelligence, and military literally confirmed to Haaretz that no photos or video footage of any rape, sexual assault exists, just as the UN confirmed. Yet they keep regurgitating this blatant lie on mainstream media with zero challenge. Well, why do you think Wasserman Schultz goes on with Dana Bash? Because Dana Bash is a Zionist just like Debbie. Debbie will never be caught in a situation on national television where she is being confronted for her bullshit. That's why she goes on with Dana Bash and Andrea Mitchell and people like that. That's what she does. The mission team, specifically the forensic pathologist and the digital analyst, reviewed over 5,000 photos, around 50 hours, and several audio files of footage of the attacks. In the methodological assessment of available photos and videos, no tangible indications of rape could be identified. While the mission team reviewed extensive digital material depicting a range of aggressions violations, no digital evidence specifically depicting acts of sexual violence was found in open sources. Beyond this, from inquiries put to 3 bodies in the defense establishment by Haaretz, it emerges that the intelligence material collected by the police and the intelligence bodies, including footage from terrorist body cameras, does not contain visual documentation of any acts of rape themselves. Keep scrolling. And now, as you can see, over and over and over again, people highlight things like how much money she's taken from AIPAC. All the people that have an opinion or want to deliver a fact. And as you can see, it's pretty universal. in the hundreds, if not thousands of messages now, because this has been reconfirmed multiple times. Scroll up for a second. So scroll for a second. I want to hold this. In that CNN video, DWS claims she watched a video filmed by Hamas of its members cutting off breasts while raping. She's lying. Israel authorities and UN say no videos at all exist of rapes taking place. And yet apparently the vice president also went out and said the same thing, went out and reaffirmed Sheryl Sandberg's message. Now, why does Sheryl Sandberg factor into this equation? For those of you who don't know, Sheryl Sandberg is one of the, I believe, founding members of Facebook. She is a multi-billionaire, and she is a substantial donor to the Democratic Party establishment. So everything always gets back to money and power, kind of like Bill Ackman and the things that he does in terms of trying to get the establishment to walk the line as far as he's concerned. That's a big part of it as well. So what is this brouhaha all about? And as I said, you could go on there, you could see it. She has been buried into the ground. Jen has gotten some good traction from that. But here's the important message. This is what she said when she went on CNN with Dana Bash earlier today.
Was sexual and gender-based violence that occurred on October 7th, that Hamas uses it as a weapon of war, and that any organization, either international or domestic, that denies it is essentially allowing the commission of acts of violence again and again.
So let's remember a few things here. Number one, notice how she's squirming when she talks and blinking a lot. It's usually a giveaway. The thing to remember here is when you have mass famine, starvation, dehydration, all of these set in motion catastrophic elements that occur as a result of a genocide, you want to try to mitigate the losses as much as you possibly can in this moment. But not only is that not happening, but you have somebody like Wasserman Schultz who is willing to go on to national television and continue to perpetuate this lie, this insane lie. For what purpose? Well, she takes a substantial amount of money from the Israel lobby. And that's how she maintains her power structure. And that is what matters to her, full stop. She does not care one iota about her constituents or the country at large, and especially about the people in Gaza and the West Bank. Why? Because she doesn't see them as human beings. She has never said the word Palestinian or Palestine, and she's not going to, whether she believes it or is paid to not say it. That's the reason. That's why she does what she does. And found total vindication in the 4 hostages that were rescued and the 274 Palestinian civilians that were killed as a result. There is nothing redeemable about this representative. There never has been. And she just gets worse and worse and worse. And for every one of you out there who actually believe that change is possible, or frankly, have a lot to say about it, but don't actually do anything about it, sign up to volunteer, because phone banking has commenced. So if you do want to see an end to this, and Lord knows I do, because I'm putting in the work every day, I would love for you guys to sign up at gen2024.org for phone banking. That would be wonderful. We'll continue.
There can't be an exception for Jewish victims. There can't be an exception for Israelis. The idea that it's Me Too unless you're a Jew is unacceptable. And, you know,
what in the flying F is she talking about? I just, it's like she's like pretending to be a victim. That's what I think it is. I can't really think of anything else. You know? In totality, I should be shocked by how far she's willing to go, but I'm really not. There is no bridge that she won't cross. So this is what we're stuck with right now. But it doesn't have to remain that way. Jimmy, much obliged, brother. Please confirm somebody reached out to get in touch.
When you have Republicans in Congress, like we did last week, defund the UN Population Fund, which provides resources all over the world to come.
The UN said today that you're a liar. So why are you even talking about them? And of course, framing it in the context that it's all the GOP's fault, that's why this is going on. It's all the GOP's fault. Saying that she's unbearable is being nice. Metal, couple of things. It is entirely plausible that there have been sexual assault victims by Hamas onto Israeli women. That evidence does not exist as of this moment. She is saying that it does, and she's lying. It has been disputed across the board, bipartisan and nonpartisan. That's why no one talks about it now, but she's talking about it because she's paid to talk about it. We'll finish it up.
Combat sexual violence against women across the globe, you can see where Republican priorities are compared to President Biden and Vice President Harris, who are using the administration's platform to lead in making sure that these crimes are not only not denied, but that there are consequences for them.
Well, I would suggest to Wasserman Schultz, or as I would suggest to the Democratic Party, you see, Debbie doesn't actually help your party. Debbie kills your party. When anybody sees her face and sees what she has to say, you know what the reaction is universally? Fuck that person. And if she's a spokesperson for the Democratic Party, fuck the party. There isn't anybody that seemingly is willing to tell her, please get off of television.